For the global business community, the top concern for the next 2 years is not conflict or climate. It is disinformation and misinformation, followed closely by polarization within our societies. These risks are serious because they limit our ability to tackle the big global challenges we are facing. Changes in our climate and our geopolitical climate, shifts in our demography and in our technology, spiraling regional conflicts and intensified geopolitical competition and their impacts on supply chains. The sobering reality is that we are once again competing more intensely across countries than we have in several decades. And this makes the theme of this year's Davos meeting even more relevant: rebuilding trust. This is not a time for conflicts or polarization. This is a time to build trust. This is a time to drive global collaboration more than ever before. This requires immediate and structural responses to match the size of the global challenges. I believe it can be done.
What's going on, everyone? It's Sauce Kenny here today. As you saw from that intro, the WEF, World Economic Forum, is concerned about misinformation and disinformation. Now, I always ask myself, what is misinformation? What is disinformation? And it seems like with WEF, which is, in my view, is a globalist, organization, right? Believes in one world order, government, whatever you want to say, call it. They're glorified central planners, right? And instead of being central planners over a country, they want to be central planners of the world. Muhahaha, right? And in my view, as a central planner, I know, hey, you have a worldview, you have a bias, and if someone expresses a contrarian view to your popular bias or worldview, is not. I don't think you can designate it as misinformation, disinformation, especially when you don't give any examples of misinformation, disinformation. So what they want to censor you so you have no free speech. Right? If you're not a designated expert, they don't want you speaking on topics, have contrarian views on the topics. Well, the experts said this is the case, so therefore it is the case. No, it's not. Experts have been wrong before, and they will be wrong again. And contrarian views, and maybe many people probably don't know what a contrarian view is. So I looked that up at an Oxford Dictionary definition. A contrarian, a person who oppose or reject popular opinions, especially in stock exchanging dealings or whatever, right? Opposing or rejecting popular opinion, going against current practice. And in my audience, or if you're new to this channel, I might ask you a question. Is merely having a contrarian view or opinion on a current topic or a popular topic disinformation, misinformation? Because technically, all the procedures with COVID was disinformation, misinformation. Do the media hold themselves accountable for that? No, they don't. And as alternative media, as a civilian journalist, as I like to be self-proclaimed, I believe is my job, and I believe it's also the job of every citizen around the world to hold their government accountable, their media infrastructure accountable for giving accurate and objective information. And the moment the media and these institutions don't give accurate information, they lose trust. And that's the whole point of Davos this year in 2024. It's about building trust in the institutions. But how can you build trust in institutions when every prediction model they give about climate change has been proven wrong, has been wrong? You complain about things that are not actually immediate impacts on people's lives. You talk about climate change when with fossil fuels, we have the ability to control our climate, air conditioning. We're able to survive the hottest year in centuries because we are able to adapt our climate for survivability. We shouldn't be worried about climate change. We should be worried about climate danger. But you think you hear someone of my conservative worldview being representative in Davos, but then they sit here and claim that they're for the world. How can you be for the world when you're only speaking about half of the population? It makes no sense to me. And this is why I don't trust central planners. You want to make decisions on behalf of everyone else based on what you want to do, even if it's not, especially if it's not rooted in facts. But hey, enough about me. Let's hear this next clip, and then we'll dive more into Davos's concerns with misinformation as they talk about X, popular platform in America, around the world, and their concerns about how they don't know how to essentially regulate X. Let's take a look.
For a long time, I was on Twitter, and now it's become such a toxic place that I've concluded it's not a worthwhile place to spend time. And as you said, it is exhausting. So you do have to pick and choose, and you have to think about where are the places where you can get your message across. But I am trying to figure out, I have given up on X, what a scary name that even is, right? And I don't know what the alternative is right now. So
the question of the social media, I must say that I have abandoned Twitter too, so X, because it's a toxic environment, and we talk about, I have no solution on that, but I think one day it will come the moment of the code of conduct in these places, because journalists, if you spread crazy news and insults, and if a journalist says racist things, it can be amended.
Exactly.
Why social media that they have such big power, we still can, because it's new, but I think there will be a societal reflection on how information is brought there. Of course, on X now there is also the policy of the owner that is problematic. But I think this is a problem of the society of the future, the deontology in social media.
Davos is something that I think Vivek questions a lot, and he lambastes a lot of his speech about how European people in their culture, they have this idea of, hey, these people rule. It's rooted in classism in a way. And they try to bring that classism onto Americans, and they don't seem to comprehend why Americans love their liberty and their freedom. It's because we believe, hey, spontaneous order. Spontaneous order is better at the adaptation for a large group of people than a select few people governing the rest of society and doing what they, based on their whims, what they think is best for all of us. And I think this is why a lot of Europeans can't understand the arrogant American. So, potential 2024 Trump win is a great concern to Davos elites at annual WEF meeting. Why? Because he preaches a populist message, right? And a lot of these people in Davos, they can't understand why populism is so popular around the world. Is because people are tired of putting themselves last. Imagine a relationship where you put yourself last. You don't get any benefit with the association. Only the people at the top, only people in Davos. Oh, I get to control everything. If you don't toe the proper opinion or worldview, we'll just take advertisers away from you. We'll condition advertisers to remove funding from you, take ad spends away from you, hurt your business because you're not going along with the dictates and the edicts of these central planners. Putting yourself first is an obvious threat to a central planner. Why? Because their goal is not to make the world a better place for everybody. It's, hey, we want to use certain things as justification for you to give up control to us. Trust us. We want to protect you. Right? They say the worst thing the government can say to you is, I'm here to help. Anyone who said, I'm here to help, right? The Bible gives this warning, and I don't care if you're secular, I don't care if you believe in God, take this timeless wisdom to heart. You can teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Here's my spin on it. He who's responsible for feeding can also be the one responsible for your starvation. So if the government is feeding you, the government can starve you. And how you know the government is not going to use and abuse that power over you? The borrower is slave to the lender. These parables, they matter a lot. And look at how much debt America's in. This is why people have a great concern over what America's doing. And it seems like, a lot of people don't see it. Just in WEF climate science, Carlos Numbro said 2013 was the hottest year in 125,000 years. Okay. But he doesn't understand why so many people no longer trust the science. How can you trust a science that's been proven wrong and wrong time after time, prediction after prediction, right? So what if it's the hottest year? More people die of cold than of heat, right? These are some of the talking points that is not allowed to be expressed at these large events. From climate science to C19 mRNS shots, he asks why people are voting for populist anti-science candidates. The World Economic 2024 Global Risk Report lists misinformation, disinformation as humanity's #1 risk. And this is a lie. Misinformation and disinformation is not the #1 risk to humanity. The #1 risk of humanity is a select group of people trying to steer the world in a certain direction based on their personal preference, their ideological preference. And that's what the WEF is. So if the WEF is concerned about misinformation, disinformation, in reality, what the WEF is really concerned about is they're losing control. This reminds me, and this is a good analogy here, this reminds me of the Catholic Church and European monarchies discussing how to control the printing press in the 17th century to prevent the spread of dangerous ideas. And that is the case. History may not repeat itself, but it sure as hell rhymes. And we rhyming right now. We rapping right now, okay? Davos is exactly what Catholic Church used to be and the European monarchs used to be. And most of these people are European. All these Davos meetings, all these people, all these leaders, they come from Europe. Trying to over-regulate it. They don't even represent the American perspective. Yet they want us to live like they do. How is that not authoritarian? That's why I don't understand the left. They sit here and preach about how they let live. We let people, we trust people. No, you don't. Because the minute the people express something you don't like, you quick to omit them from society, aka kick them out.
Well, certainly today is a much bigger problem. It's hard for us, I'm a climate scientist, to understand misinformation, disinformation, because, we've been saying, for instance, this year, 2023, we had the warmest year in 125,000 years. You have to go back to the last interglacial period. All the record-breaking climate extremes. We are saying that for decades now, more.
So here's something, just a question I have for these climate scientists. If it was the hottest it's been since 125,000 years, do you just kind of admit that climate change is regular? It's like it used to be that hot. You had to go back 100,000 years to find the same degree of heat that we're living in today. So you're just telling me the climate fluctuates year to year? So why complain that it's been the hottest it's been in 100,000 years since the glacier period? And then you want to say, oh, human impact is the cause of climate change. So what? Human impact is needed for human flourishing. This is why I'm saying climate change reality isn't to transition to solar or wind or to do things that doesn't emit carbon. The reality of climate change and these climate change experts, their main point of contention here is that they want humans to use less energy. Clean energy is no energy. That's the reality of a lot of these climate change designated experts' solution to the problem, because they worship the earth more than they worship human survival.
So it's hard to believe why misinformation, disinformation, because the science is showing the risk of climate change. So we have to understand the way, not to communicate, because science is communicating, but why some people still do not believe in that. Mm-hmm. I was saying, really we have to become much more effective in responsible advocacy in anything related to science. For instance, for us sometimes it's difficult to understand. I will give you one example from my country, Brazil. Brazil was among the 3 countries with the highest vaccination rate in the world. Historically, more than US. And then we had a president, former president, a populist president, against science, against vaccination, etc., etc.
So before YouTube bans me again, because anytime you talk about vaccine science, they're ready to cancel you for some reason. I don't know why. Like this is another like problem that I have with these central planners, that they think expressing a contrary or a skeptical view of some of their stances, because at the end of the day, my belief is truth can stand scrutiny. A lie cannot. Propaganda cannot. So this is why a lot of people don't trust the experts, because we see like, yo, you're just a person that they push in front of us. And when they go with these stats, like for instance, another stat I can debunk right here, when they say 99% of climate change scientists agree that climate change is a problem. If you ask a very specific question, okay, what do these 99% climate changer experts do? You find various things. One's a material science, climate scientist. One's a predictive model. One's this. Their expertise is not even properly aligned to make a proper correlation with, oh yeah, climate change thing is a problem. No, they just happen to work in climate or environmental industry. That's it. That's the only qualification for being designated a climate expert. You work in an environmental field as a materialist. All right. I forget all these other terms, all these other job fields, but a lot of them don't have any correlation with predictive modeling and climate forecasting. Their expertise is in other aspects of environmentalism, but they use the fact, oh look, this community is all together. Look, that's not a common consensus, especially when these people don't have expertise in the thing that they're trying to claim that is a problem. And that's my problem with a lot of these people who popularize this climate change stuff, is that you're nothing more than an advocate in reality. Less of an expert, more of an advocate. And for some reason, when you try to you put questions onto it, they get defensive. They want to censor you. They want to remove you from public discussion because they can't handle your ideas. If you cut off my tongue, you don't tell me that I'm wrong. You're just showing that you're scared of what I'm going to say. And that is the reality of censorship. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know it was kind of a long video. I hope it wasn't too long for you guys. Hopefully, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with me, disagree with me, or you have other perspectives that you want to add into this video? Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.